Anyone else notice this? The moment that we retire, it seems like everyone has an opinion about how we should be spending our time. I get all kinds of feedback about what I should be doing with my grandkids. Should I be charging my children for looking after their kids? Should I be volunteering? What should I be doing with my time? And in fact, I've even received negative feedback for retiring early. At some point, I start thinking, hey, this is my retirement. I get to decide what it's going to look like. Hi, my name is Lisa. I am a retired teacher and counselor, a proud Canadian, a mom, and a grandma. And on this channel, I talk about living a solo second act. Retirement is definitely part of it. And I can't help but notice a lot of the criticisms that are coming from different angles about how we retired people are choosing to live our lives. And I think this is pretty interesting because this is exactly what retirement has given us is the freedom to choose how we want to live our lives. So I'm going to talk about a few different areas and address them one by one. The first one is looking after my grandkids. I made the decision that I wanted to look after my grandchildren for free. I actually moved to be closer to my family so that I could look after them. And the reason for that is because when my kids were growing up, their grandparents were not in the vicinity. And so I really had to look after all of their needs by myself. My husband was actually very sick too, so he was not able to help as much as he would have liked. So when the kids were sick, I couldn't just drop my job and go pick them up because I was a teacher. And when you are being pulled away from your classroom, you have to write up all the sub plans and that sort of thing. So it's not really an easy thing to get away from your classes at the drop of a hat. So having a grandparent there to be able to say, hey, can you go pick up my son because he's sick? That would have been gold. I didn't have that. And I really wanted to make sure that I was that grandparent for my kids and my grandkids to alleviate that stress from them. I wanted to make sure that I have that relationship with my grandkids. Now, I recognize that this is not a situation for everybody. For some grandparents, they need to be working. And so, by getting paid by their kids to look after their grandkids, it's a win win, right? They're getting paid and their grandkids are being looked after by someone who would love them more than anyone else on the world, right? So, win win for them. In my situation, it's a win win for me by not getting paid. I don't need the income because I am fully financed in my retirement. And so, this to me is my gift to them. And to be honest with you, if money were to come into the transaction, I would feel weird about it. And I think it would change the dynamic of the way we have this situation set up now. So I don't want money to be in the equation at all. And this is my decision. This is my retirement decision. And so I don't want outside feedback because this is the way I choose to set up my retirement. And when we talk about contribution to society, like what better contribution could I give at this point of my life than to contribute to the healthy development of my grandchildren? So that to me is a huge priority. And that brings me to my next point. I also want to make sure that I am growing still because I did retire a little bit earlier. I was only 54 and I love to learn. I'm not a gardener. I am not someone who likes to crochet or anything like that, but I do love reading, researching. I love computers. I love pulling things together in a creative sense. I love learning new things about technology and trying to implement it. And so pulling this YouTube channel together has been just so much fun because it helps with the creativity part of that itch that needs to be scratched. And the fact that it happens to pay some extra money is just such a bonus. But the criticism has been, well, you're earning money, so technically you're not retired. No, that's not true because if I never made another dime with this whole online presence that I'm pursuing, I'm still fully retired, right? This is like an outlet for me. It's a chance for me to have a purpose every day, to be productive and creative. And this is how I choose to spend my time in my retirement. So, for example, if I was a quilter and I created all kinds of quilts and I spent a whole lot of time every day quilting, and then I took all those quilts to the farmer's market and sold them there and made some extra money, would anyone challenge me on that, saying that I'm not technically retired because I'm selling quilts at the farmer's market? No, I don't think they would. I think they would say, hey, that's a bit of a side hustle you got going on there. And that's exactly the way I see this with YouTube. I'm actually kind of excited when my grandson gets a little older and he can see what I'm doing. And I think it's going to be funny that he's going to see that grandma is a YouTuber. And it's just very exciting that we have an opportunity to get monetized on YouTube. It's helping me to pay some bills, like some vehicle repairs that I needed. And to be honest, I just booked another cruise with the earnings that I've made from YouTube. So I see this as like extra money, some fun money. So I don't have to dip into my investments in order to do fun things like go on another trip. But it's definitely not impacting whether I can be retired or not. It's just how I choose to spend my time. Another comment that you might be facing at this point is, if you like your job so much, why would you retire? Or they may tell you that I love my job so much, I would never consider retiring at this point. And I'm thinking that's wonderful for you. But I kind of feel like they're talking about what would work for them. And it really has nothing to do with me. And you cannot tell me that I didn't love my career. I adored it. I adored the kids. I was incredibly proud of being a teacher and a counselor. The stuff that we are privy to and helping the kids through and witnessing their growth in, helping them through some really difficult situations, seeing them soar off to college and beyond, attending their weddings, watching them become parents. It's just an absolute amazing career. But after 31 years, I felt like I needed a change. I wanted myself, my health, my family to be the priority. And for that, I make no apologies. It was the right decision to make at the time, and it's still the right decision today. Another criticism that I've been receiving is, well, now that you're retired, you should be volunteering. You should be contributing back to society. And I'm thinking, okay, let's go back to the grandchildren because I do volunteer a lot of time. I look after them 3 to 5 days a week. And you know what? I'm thinking, could there be a better use of my time in my retirement? No, I am very happy that they are my priority at this stage. I see it very much as a window, like they're only going to be little for so long and then they will be going off to school, and then I will have more time to be doing these other things. And when I'm not looking after them, then I'm also helping out with the new building that I'm in. So I'm part of 3 different committees and helping out with those different committees and the activities, the events that we do, things like that. So between the kids, my building, my friends, and my online stuff, I'm pretty busy. And what's even better about that is that these are the things that I choose to do. Because now that we're retired, we get to design the life that we want, right? This may be for the first time in our lives that we get to say, okay, yes, I want to do this. No, I don't want to do that. And you get to actually put the hand up and say no and feel that that's okay because this is now the world according to you, right? And because this is the first stage of my life where I get to decide all of this stuff for myself, I'm very cognizant of every decision that I make. And I'm very protective of that time. So when I feel like people are starting to encroach on my time and ask me for a little bit more of me than what I'm really wanting to give, I find myself getting my guard up because I'm going, you know what? I spent all my adult life being tied to a schedule and bells and basically being told what I needed to do. There's societal expectations of me go to work, have children, being married. It's like we're blindly going down this path and we just do it. And every day is the same one day after another. And then we come to retirement and it's like all of that goes away and we get a chance to go, okay, now what do I do? Because the script isn't there anymore. So we get to decide, okay, how am I going to write the story of my life at this point? So I kind of see it a bit like kid in a candy store, right? On one hand, it's like heaven. Wow, look at I have all these choices. And then on the other hand, sometimes it's like overwhelmed. Look at all the choices. I don't know where to choose, right? So that can be a little bit of a challenge, but at the same time, it is also a gift because retirement isn't about doing what we're supposed to do. It's about finally choosing what matters to us. And right now, what matters to me is looking after my grandchildren, building something online that is fun, gives me purpose, excites me, keeps me learning, keeps the brain going, and pays me some extra money. Having a life where there's no boss, well, maybe my grandchildren, no commitments, no alarm clocks. Man, I hate those things. There's no more dreading Sunday nights anymore. Man, Sunday nights were always, I have to go back to work. I loved Saturdays. I lived for Saturdays. But now every day feels like a Saturday. And this is the life that I have chosen and designed for me. Maybe not be the kind of life that you would want in your retirement, but that's okay. You get to choose the kind of life that you want in your retirement. And you know what? You owe nobody an explanation for it. This is the freedom that you have worked for and earned. So enjoy it, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this short little video and hopefully it made you think a little bit. Please consider giving it a thumbs up and maybe even subscribing because it really does help channels like mine. In the meantime, have a wonderful day.